I got my master's in business analytics, and I'm going to tell you the pros, cons, cost, and whether or not I recommend it for you. The first pro is obviously credibility. Just by having this expensive piece of paper, people automatically think I'm smarter and better at my job. Especially as a young woman earlier on in my career, it did help to have a master's degree because I could totally flex it in interviews and people would automatically think I knew what I was talking about. But later on in my career, I don't think it really boosted my credibility that much over experience. I also really enjoyed having a structured learning program. I was put into all these different classes like SQL, Python, marketing analytics, predictive analytics, and econometrics. And honestly, econometrics still gives me nightmares, along with business classes like competitive strategy and things like that. So I didn't have to pick and choose and figure out what to learn. It was all in one package, and all I had to do was shut up and go to class and learn. So it was easy. Another great thing is the alumni network and corporate connections. I actually got my first internship that led to a full-time data job through corporate connections. This company came to my master's program and was like, we need an intern, and then they hired me and I got promoted twice. So that was literally the launching pad of my entire career. And I'm not sure if I would have found that same opportunity if I wasn't in my master's program. Okay, now for the bad parts. I think the most obvious are that it costs a lot of money and time, and we'll get to the money part later, but it did take an entire year of me being a full-time student with 15 to 18 credit hours. So there really wasn't a time to have a full-time job or any sort of personal life, which is okay if you really want a master's degree, but if you have a full-time job and you can't just take off work for a year or two, it might not be the best route for you. The next issue I kind of had is that a lot of my classes were very academic and theoretical, and they weren't super applied to real-world business problems. So we were doing things like solving econometric equations by hand, and I was like, why the heck are we doing this? And then I got to my first job and I was like, wait, I don't even know how to apply a lot of these skills I learned in the real world. And the last con is that academia is just kind of very behind industry sometimes. So they taught a lot of older tools like R and SPSS and things that industry companies are not actually using anymore. So it was honestly a waste of time because I had to learn these languages and tools just to pass the test, knowing that I was going to be using SQL and Python in the real world, which we did learn SQL and Python too. Okay, let's talk about the cost. The cost of my program was $20,000, which is honestly not bad considering it was a one-year master's program. So you can get an entire master's for only $20K. But I actually got my master's degree for free because I got hired as a graduate assistantship. A grad assistantship is kind of like a TA job, but instead of teaching, you're working in some sort of office or department. So I was working for this charity department, and they basically covered all of my tuition, and then they also paid me a monthly stipend, which was awesome because I graduated debt-free, and that's why I think this was actually worth it. But would I recommend that you get your master's degree? Honestly, I don't think I would go into a ton of debt to get my master's degree. I don't think it's worth it. If you're earlier on in your career, or if you just want structured learning, then I highly recommend a master's degree, especially if you can get it paid for through a TA or GA ship. But if you already have work experience, you could save a lot of time and money just learning analytics on your own.